Hi everyone, June here from Red Daisy Crafts. I feel like it's been a little bit of a minute. We had Easter last weekend, and so I wasn't with you guys, but I am here today and we are going to be playing with the Fluttering Garden. I have a few alternate projects for you, so we're going to dive right down to the desk so that we can talk some uh, I guess housekeeping, and then we will get started crafting. So let's see here. There we go. All right, so we are in the we're in the May subscription period. I had to think there for a moment. Hi, everybody. Thanks for joining. Say hello in the comments. We're in May. Sparkling Celebrations is the next Paper Pumpkin that you can subscribe to. If you haven't subscribed yet, I would encourage you to do so. It is going to be bold celebratory cards, perfect for invitations or graduations, special occasions. There's going to be 9 cards, 3 of 3 designs. They're going to have coordinating envelopes. There'll be paper, pre-cut paper die cuts. There's going to be some silver foiling. There's going to be gem embellishments. And the coordinating colors are Blackberry Bliss, Coastal Cabana, Daffodil Delight, Melon Mambo, Misty Moonlight, and Misty Moonlight will be the Stampin' Spot, Night of Navy, and Pumpkin Pie. Oh, those are some really pretty colors. I love those colors. So, all right, well, that's where we're at with that. If you haven't gotten the Wonderful Scenes add-on dies, you might want to grab those as well while the supplies last. You must be a Paper Pumpkin subscriber in order to get those dies. All right, so that's a close-up of what those dies look like. Really fun options there. And I don't have a picture. This one's already passed, so you would have had to have already subscribed to that. I don't have a picture out for the May kit, so we are going to just start to dig in to our card. So this is the card that we're going to be making. It is an alternate project from the kit, and we are going to put that together. Right here. So what we have is a piece of the card base from the kit, and we're going to trim this down, and we're going to trim it down to 3.5 by 3.5. Okay, so we're going to trim that down to 3.5 by 3.5. Then we're going to need a piece of the peach pie, and that looks like it's going to be 3/4 of an inch by 4.25. And we're going to trim this down. This is going to get cut to 2 3/8 by 2 3/8. And then we're going to have a little strip of gorgeous grape, and it is 1 inch by, I'm going to guess, 2.5 inches. So my card base that we're starting with is 5.5 by 8.5. It'll get scored at 4.25. So let's go ahead and do some of this cutting. And we'll probably go back over all those measurements as we get started. But let me go ahead and score the card base that we have here. Let me get that out of the way. And move our cutting blade out of the way. There we go. And so now we have our card base scored. Perfect. So our first piece, this was 3.5 by 3.5. So a looks like this is already 3.5. So now we just need to cut this piece here. So that is from the card base. Then we have this piece, which is going to be 4.25. So that's good, but we're going to trim it down to 3/4 of an inch. And so we have that. Now we're going to have an inch piece here. So let me just trim this off to 1 inch. And I think I said 2.5 inches should be plenty. It gets hidden behind there. So we have that piece. And then this last piece came from the envelope. Okay. So we need this to be 2 3/8. So 2 3/8. And then by 2 3/8. So right there. Now I think I'm going to flip it around. Nope, I'm good. 2 3/8 right there. So we're going to do that. And those are the pieces we need for this card. And then we will get to doing our stamping. We're going to do some coloring. We have all kinds of fun things. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to do a little bit of splattering on actually might do the splatter at the end because it looks like I did it at the end of all of this. So we're going to start out doing some stamping. Let's see if no, I didn't put anything on the inside, so you can do whatever you like on the inside. Okay, we are going to start out with some stamping. We're going to use this fun stamp back here, and we're going to stamp along the top of this little piece. So we're going to ink up our stamp, and I'm just using the ink spot, which is a basic gray. And we're just going to get it right up at the top and right at the edge like that. Then we're going to come in and we're going to put another one. Then I'm going to want some scrap paper. And I know I probably have some nearby. I just have to find it. And what I may do is just use the back side of this here. That makes it hard for you to see the edge, but I can see the edge of the piece here. So we are going to just put that right next to it, like so. And that just caused us to run off the edge here, like that. This side gets a little bit covered up, so I'm not too concerned with it. So that's that piece. Now we are going to stamp a hello down here in the bottom right corner on the front of the card. So just ink that up. Good. And we're going to have that going right here onto the card front. All right. And that is how we're starting. All right, so let me move that a little bit out of the way, and let's go ahead and do some coloring. Now, I did grab my blends markers for this, and I went ahead and grabbed the pumpkin pie, the petal pink. I have the old olive here. And so let's go ahead and color in some of these things here. So I'm going to go ahead and just do some of the grass down here. A lot of this is going to get covered up, so I'm not going to go too crazy. I'm just going to do little quick coloring here. And it just started raining here. We've been getting a lot of rain the last few I don't know if I can say a few weeks, but at least the last week we've gotten quite a bit of rain, which is great. We need it. So I am going to get my old olive here, the dark one, and I'm going to just give a little bit of color at the bottom of the leaf, and then I'm going to come back in with my lighter old olive and just stretch that out so that we get a little bit of a variance here. Make it a little bit more realistic looking. So let's go ahead and go get this one over here. We'll get this one up here like that. And then we'll go ahead and pull that up. Very fun. Okay. Now I'm just going to try and quickly go across here and see what we can do to move as quickly as we can. This coloring stuff can be a little bit of a time suck, but it is very fun and it looks so great. So let's just try to get through this really quickly. I hope everybody is having a great weekend. I know I'm having a great weekend. It's been very productive. I worked in my closet, weeding out a lot of clothes, just things I don't like anymore, colors that don't work, or things that just really don't look good, period. So that's been a lot of work this weekend. And I wonder what y'all have been doing. I hope y'all have been having a good weekend. Maybe your family had a holiday. I think we're getting closer to where people are going to be taking some trips. And I know we are. And that's always fun. So how have you enjoyed the Fluttering Garden paper pumpkin? I hope that you have enjoyed that. I know I had a lot of fun creating the alternates for you guys, so hopefully you will enjoy those. If we can move quick enough, I'm hoping to get at least 3 in today. So let's see here. We gotta get a little bit here, a little bit there, a little bit there, a little bit there. Then we can color these in and move on to the next color. Oh, I missed one. I see that now. Oh, missed a couple of them here. And very, very fun. My oldest grandson, he went to prom yesterday. That is just wild. I can't believe how old they're getting. So grown up. So grown up. All right, so let's see here. I did bring in the pool party, but we are going to work with the light petal, the light pumpkin pie with the dark, I don't know, those might be the same. I guess we'll just stick with the petal pink, which I think is closest to peach pie, or I think. Nope, we're going to go with pie. We're going to go with pumpkin pie. I don't have a peach pie blends, so we're going to do this here. I'm just going to put some darker pumpkin pie on here, and then we'll come back and blend it in, get some variation going. It's little tiny flowers here. So let's just get that. I don't know if this is a good color for that flower or not, if they even grow in this color, but it goes with the palette that we are working with on the card. So I feel like it's better to stick to something that matches, even though that is not necessarily the color. All right, now I am going to use the light pool party and just come in here and get some of these. And then I will come back and get some with the darker pool party. Miss that little green on that stem. And then this will just be a little bit more vibrant. Very nice. Very nice. I hope y'all are having good weather and enjoying the spring. I think most places are starting to warm up from the winter weather. Okay, so that's what we kind of end up with. And I just love how beautiful that looks with that. All right, so this is going to go on here just like that. And we're going to put it down with some glue. Now let me get my bone folder and let's go ahead and burnish this score line so that we can have a nice fold. All right, so got my liquid glue. Ooh, we are getting a lot of liquid glue on here. Way too much than we need, but we will manage. All right, so that's that piece. Okay, then this one's going to come across here, and it's not going to go all the way to the bottom. We're just going to, actually, we're going to put it right up against the bottom of that greenery. So let's just be a little more careful here. And let's go ahead and get that on there straight. There we go. I'm going to just scoot it up just a tad. There we go. Nice. All right. And then this piece is going to go right here, just like that. And let's see if I can be a little less forceful with my glue. All right. So that's just going to layer on right there, just like that. And then we have our little piece here, which is from the envelope, and we're going to use some dimensionals on there. And so I've got some mini dimensionals here, and I'm just going to put them in the corners and then maybe 2 here in the center just to give us support. This envelope paper is much thinner than a cardstock paper, and so feel like the dimensionals will give it that little extra support that we need. And so now this is going to go just like that right there. So I know that a lot of our little flowers did get covered up. Hey Wanda, how are you? It's great to have you here. Hope you're having a good week. And then we have one of our little birds, a little die cut here. So I am going to use one of the dimensionals to put right up here on his little wing. And then we'll put a little bit of glue on the body here, just so it gets tacked down to the top of here. Okay, and so we're going to put that right there. Okay, just like that. And then we're going to do the little splattering. So I'm going to grab, I got my dark here, but I'm going to grab the pumpkin pie also to do a little bit of splatter. Okay, so I'm going to move this out of the way. You're doing well. Awesome. I am doing great. I am. So we're going to I'm going to use the tip of this, and oh, we got a lot of splatter, which is fine. Boy, we're getting quite a lot. All right. All right, now let's put a little bit of, let me see if I can get some more in this one little area. Oh, there we go. We got a lot. The green was very, very splattery. All right, let's see what we got here. Oh, nice. Okay. So the green was a little splattery. I love how this looks. Okay, so I have our little gems that came in the kit. And again, just be mindful, these are also similar to the gems that we have available. Where did my packet go? I had them just a second ago. But now they're hiding from me. Lordy be, what did I do with them? It's crazy. They were just right there. Oh, here they are. Oh my goodness. They are the iridescent foil gems. Look at that. They're the same. So if you need those, they are in the back office. I believe they are still available. So we're going to just add a couple of these on here. So one of them I'm going to stick right kind of under this envelope cover piece right there. And then a smaller one I'm going to put right there. And then we're going to take another smaller one and put it right down here. And then I'm going to have one more big one. We're going to put it right here. And a smaller one right there. And that, it will be our finished card for today. I love all the color that, even though we have like these very muted colors as our ink, you know, with the basic gray and the muted kind of card bases, I love that these pops of color just really bring out everything. So very, very cute. And it doesn't necessarily matter which bird you have, or which hummingbird, I should say. But that is our first card. So I'm going to just set that right up there and grab my next little bundle here and see where we go. All right, so this is the card I made. Thank you, Wanda. Again, we're just bringing a white card base, and we're going to use a little bit of the pieces from the kit. We're going to use the sentiment one, another one of the die cuts, and we're going to do some stamping on that little card base piece. Now, I have my white card base here. I have my piece, and I'll give you the measurements, but that's already cut. Now this I need to trim down, but instead of that, we're going to use the thank you message from the kit. And I have a little bird here, and I have this piece to use to cut that piece out. So let me find my ruler here. Let's move these out of the way. Okay. And so the little card base piece is going to be 4 3/4 inches by 2 1/2. 4 3/4 by 2 1/2. So let me get that here. And so we're going to have 2 1/2. Like that. Perfect. And we'll get that out of the way. Then 4 3/4. So we got that right there. Okay. So I'm not going to keep that little piece. I love the freedom of letting go of some scraps. It just gives me great joy. I can't keep everything. So this is 2 7/8 by 2 7/8. So let's cut this here. And then 2 7/8. All right. So let's see here. This Coastal Cabana piece is 4 1/2 by 3 1/4. And so we are going to do some stamping. And before we do that, let me just do the score line on my card base here. So that's going to be 4 1/4 because my cardstock here is 5 1/2 by 8 1/2. So scoring at 4 1/4. Okay. And now we're going to do some stamping on here with, it's going to be similar to what we did last week on here. And grabbing the wrong one. And I think I'm going to do something a little bit different here. I'm going to bring this in just a tad like that. Okay. And we're going to bring this one also in like that. And we'll do the similar on the bottom edge. So I think it's going to be just a little bit of a different look. Maybe a little bit more open, but we'll see when we get there. Okay. So we're going to have that. We're going to also do some coloring on here. Last week I used the pencils, coloring pencils, and this week we're using the blends. So I just think like it's good to get experience using the different ones. So we are going to use the light on here. We're not going to do a bunch of shading or anything. I'm just going to go over the lines of the stems and keep it very, very simple. We did kind of a similar thing with the color pencils, but I think it's nice for you to see how they look differently. There we go. And let's go ahead and just keep going all the way around. I guess we're getting close to the end of the school year. So people are going to have graduations and summer trips. Looking forward to seeing all of what people are doing. All right, so now let's do this side. All right. Whew. The smell of these markers, can't tell if it's a good smell or a bad smell. It's powerful. I don't know if y'all feel like that, but sometimes I feel like, whoa. Yesterday, I started to work in my closet and I took out lots of clothes that don't fit, that I don't like how they look, so many things. And then today I finished that and I had somebody help me kind of get my closet organized. So I got all my t-shirts together and all my shirts together and separated by sleeve length and by colors. I don't think I've ever had my closet. It's going to be so nice. I'm going to find things so much easier. I'm working my way towards what they call a capsule wardrobe so that I know what I'm wearing on a regular basis. I've always had so many clothes, and this is just going to be so nice. I think this is going to be so fun. It's going to be so different than what we have here, I think. So I can't wait to see how that looks. Now, what did I do? Oh, here's my bone folder. So put that here. All right, so we are going to be layering this. It's going to go on here like this, and we're going to use our multi-purpose liquid glue to put this down. I'm still pressing too hard. All right, so that's that. Okay. And then we're going to have this piece, and it's just going to come across like that. All right, and we're going to go ahead and glue that one down too. And just like so. Okay, now this one's going to go across here. Oh, I love it. I love how much richer these colors look with this. I think it looks so good. All right, so we are going to put some dimensionals on here before we put this down. Is anybody crafting along today? I think it would be great to know. If you've worked on your kit, if you've already created your kit, I'm a little bit late today. This time, I feel like with Easter, we're a little later than usual, but hopefully we're going through a few more during this session. We'll catch up and get them all in. Okay, so now this is going to come on here like that. And I'm just going to put some glue across here just to get that tacked down. Okay, and making sure I don't have anything hanging off the page. Okay, and then we have our little bird that's going to come on here, and I may actually put him up there so that we don't cover up so much of the stamping and the colors out there. So let's just put him right here like that. Oh, I love it. So fun. Okay, now let's use some of these gems on here. I'm going to actually put one down here, and we'll put one out here and one. I think I can do one right there. Try not to have it on top of a dimensional. And then let's put one right there. And then let's put one down here. There we go. Very fun. Now, the other thing I did here, which we can do, is I added a little bit of linen thread. And so I have that little spool of linen thread. And so I'm going to use this. I always have to find the end. Where is the end? Wow, it's usually not this hard. There it is. All right, so let's see here. Get my paper snips here. And I'm going to run my thumbnail across here. It just gets the kinks out, okay? And then I'm going to double it up. And then we'll do a bow here. I have way more linen thread than I need, but I'm okay. Okay with wasting a bit. Okay, so that's going to go like that. Now I'm going to get a glue dot here from my supplies, and I'm going to stick this on there like that. And we're going to pick it up. And we're going to just tuck him right in under here like that. Just kind of want to have the glue hanging out. And then we'll trim off the excess like that. So there we have our finished card. Love having a little bit of texture down here and adding all that. So one of you made a few of the cards. Awesome. Oh, that's so nice. You gave some for a gift. Oh, I bet those are beautiful. I bet the cross cards were really beautiful. All right, so this is our second card for today, and I love changing up how that was stamped on here. I think it just made that so much better. Beautiful. All right, so that's card 2. So let's see if we can get one more in here. I think this one's a kind of a simple one. Think it is. So we're going to do this right here. And I have a bird for us. So we are going to need to cut a few strips of these 3 strips. They are 1 inch. Yep, 1 inch by 4 1/4. And then that is put onto a card base, which is 3 3/8 by 4 1/2. Then I have a piece behind here. I don't know if you can see it, but I found a piece of glimmer paper. So you can add that step or you cannot. You don't have to have the glimmer paper. I just really wanted to show that to you. So we are not going to be using the glimmer paper on this one. But if you did want to add it, it is 4 3/4 by 3 5/8. Okay. So I'm going to work on cutting my card base piece here, which I just had, but put it somewhere. Here it is. So I'm using the leftover piece that we had from the last card. And I said this was supposed to be 3 3/8 by 4 1/2. So now I want to get this circle kind of in the middle. So I'm going to just cut off here. Now I'm going to do 3 3/8. Maybe cut off a little bit more. There we go. That way we cover up the circle. And then we're going to cut off. So this is 5 1/2. We want 4 1/2. So I'm going to cut off 1/2 inch here. Thank you. I'm glad you liked it. Oh, that must have been trimmed already. Oh no. There we go. So that is that piece. Now we need these to be 4 1/4 by 1 inch. So I'm going to go ahead and cut the one, or what do I have here? I think I'll trim this to 4 1/4. And then do a 1 inch strip. So we have that. And then 4 1/4 by 1 inch. I'm kind of thinking about the fact that that circle is on there. It might be seen behind. And what could I do? I guess I could stamp around it. 4 1/4 by 1 inch. So let's see. Get rid of all of that. So we need to do our blend. Oh my goodness, my scoring mark. So same card base as the others, just basic white with 5 1/2 by 8 1/2 scored at 4 3/4 for our card base right here. And we do need to get a couple of die cuts from the box. So let me see here. So I'm going to need one of these and the word beautiful. Right here. I think that's what we need. But I am also seeing that I need one more piece of the card base. And I think this is big enough for that. Yes, perfect. So we're going to trim this piece. It's a square, so 2 inches by 2 inches. Looks like this is already 2 inches, so let's just trim off right here for our piece. Okay, And I guess I just had that in there. I don't know why I had that envelope in there. All right, so we are going to have this piece is going to go here and here and here. Now, I suppose those lines aren't that noticeable, but I don't know. They're going to bother me. So I am going to go ahead and do stamping around that circle, and that way it'll look like it was intended to be that way. Okay, so we're just going to add a little bit of this around the circle like so, and I'm not really worried about it being a perfect stamp, so I'm not really pressing super hard for this. Okay, so we're going to start with that as our base. Okay, so before we do, we're going to add these, and I like to do the ones on the end first so that we can get our I guess inches between all the pieces at the same. So it's not quite. There we go. And then we'll put this one on the other side, and then we'll add the peach pie in the middle. So we have the gorgeous grape going on, and now the coastal cabana, okay, with the peach pie in the center. I love that you made some cards to give away. I like to give cards to people as a gift. Oh yeah, I'm glad I did that because now it at least feels like something was intended to be behind there as opposed to a line here and a line here. Perfect. All right, and I am going to do something a little bit different on this. We are going to use some of the linen thread, and I'm going to wrap it around a couple of times just here to add a little texture to the card. So, and then looks like I'm at the end of this, so might as well just use it. All right, so we're gonna just tie a little bow right here. Like so. Just like that. Leave a little bit of this tail on here. Perfect. Perfect. All right, now let's go ahead and put this on to our card base. You know, all of these cards came as a result of me just pulling a sketch from my little pile of sketches and saying, how would I make this card with these elements? I love doing that. I love it. All right, so there's our little base. Now you can see the glimmer is fun, but you don't have to have the glimmer, right? And so then this is going to go right on here, like so. Okay, and so we're going to add that with our dimensionals. And oh, we did good on time. So glad. I'm really glad. So I do have one more set of 3 cards to do next week. I think it's 3. I have 2 or 3. I can't remember, but I think 3. And so next Sunday I will be here to do the last bit with this kit. Now we're going to have this bird coming right here. So I'm just going to add a little bit of glue right here. And we're going to put a couple of glue dots onto his feathers. Like that. Okay. So right there, like that. And then we're going to add the beautiful right here. That feels very empty. I feel like I want to add one more little piece, and I'm not sure what I want. I feel like I want a little strip of purple on here to put that beautiful on. I think that's what I'm going to do. That was 2 inches. I just feel like it needs to have a little bit of a grounding behind it for it to show up. Okay. So we're going to add a little bit of glue on here and get that added. And it's just going to go right here like so. And then we'll add this right here. And we're going to add it with some glue. I am making some chicken in the crock pot right now, and I'm starting to smell it. It's got cream cheese and rotel in it. Yum. All right, so now we just need to add a couple of our little gems, which I did not do to my original card here. And we will for this one. So I'm just going to add one right down here, and then one more here, and then we'll add one right up there, and that'll do it. So there is that. And you can see how they're just a little bit different, right? Just a little bit different. So pretty. Like, you could splatter all of these. You could do all the fun things, but so basic. I love that I can show you how to just take, all I added was a little bit of cardstock and some coloring tools. All right. And everything else came from the kit. This just very, very basic, easy sketches that you can do with any card kit, just about. So that's what I have for you today. So I hope y'all are doing great, and I hope you enjoyed this. I look forward to sharing 2 or 3 more next Sunday, and then we'll be off again while the other kit arrives and I get things set up for the next month. So if you have any questions about Paper Pumpkin, I would love to support you and help you with any of those questions. And I hope y'all have a great week, and I will see you next Sunday. Bye, everybody.